Hello, and welcome to a new episode of the Trending Topics podcast. My name is Julia Gerber. Joining us on the podcast today is Ewa Lenart, founder and CEO of Howie Systems, a Viennese proptech startup that recently secured a six-figure investment. Howie is striving to revolutionize the construction and real estate industry with its AI co-pilot that helps navigating through data. In this episode, we'll be talking about Howie's solution, how it managed to secure investment, and how it plans to help the architecture, engineering, and construction industries save money. Also, we will discuss the promising waiting list and when Howie will be available to everyone. Welcome, Ewa.
Hi, Julia. Nice to see you, and thank you, everybody who's listening.
So we all love hearing from founders and learning about their stories. And you started Howie last summer. What inspired you to launch?
So I think they are different type of founders. I'm one of the founders, how they call it, a domain founder. Even I'm not technical in the some of IT sense. I'm still in the way technical founder. So to give you my background, I spent 10 years working as a qualified architect. And now I'm on the mission to help other architects run their practices better. And long story short, I'm originally Polish. I studied in Vienna, LA, and then practiced in Ghana, very long in London. And the problem, really, what we are solving with Howie is something which I experienced firsthand. And this drove me to a lot of frustration. And at the same time, saw a lot of technological opportunities which are there possible with large language models, vision models of AI, which seemed like absolutely a perfect market timing to really do something about it.
What do you consider a domain founder? Could you briefly explain that?
Sure. So, a lot of people tell me the perfect co-founding trio is somebody who is a business person, then a domain CPO person, and the tech person. And usually what a lot of people would consider domain, that for instance, if you are working with a healthcare system, you are an ex-doctor or an ex-nurse, right? So you know your domain really well. So this is something that I don't name myself. This is what a lot of people or VCs I talk with categorize me as a domain founder. Somebody who is not trained in business, somebody who is not trained in IT, and somebody who does not have particularly a tech expertise, but on the other hand has a very, very deep expertise of knowing one niche very well, working for very long in one niche. So one thing, knowing the problem, the other thing, of course, building a big network. And this is also one of I knew I want to solve the problem of knowledge management, which we are solving. And actually, before starting Howie, in the way had this complex, like, oh my God, I never work in tech. Maybe I should do an MBA or like also in business. And it came out that actually this chip on my shoulder became my superpower of knowing the niche extremely well.
Well, thank you for sharing that story. Let's talk about the current state of the construction industry. Where do data play a significant role in your view? And could you maybe share some examples of how data is currently being collected and used?
Of course. So it's a very great question, but also this one question would be the topic for the whole podcast. So I can tell you, maybe not, I also don't know everything about the industry. I only know what I've experienced, and I can tell you what I've experienced and what I've noticed. So I had a huge privilege working on a lot of very complex projects, like renovation of Houses of Parliament in London. So you can imagine ginormous project, best teams, huge budgets. And at the same time, early in my career, I worked on a lot of small projects. And what I realized, no matter if I work in one room renovation or ginormous $250 million construction renovation, problem is the same. Whenever you try to plan, design, and manage building information, whenever you need an answer and you have every day so many questions and you need to find an answer right now for the question you have to move the bottlenecks, you have to wait a lot because the information is in the data saved somewhere, but usually only certain people know where this location is and where you can extract. And I believe this knowledge management is a problematic in many industries. In the architecture, real estate, construction is particularly problematic. On one hand, we are very good in documenting data, which is great, but we have a huge amount of data. And On the global scale, in building information and management, in the last 10 years, the data we manage doubled. On the other hand, we have this global problem generally with workforce that 15 years ago, people stayed approximately 8.7 years in the job. Now it dropped to 2.2. So the job turnover is 308%. Yeah, data doubles. The data sources, we have to find data. On average, a person has to reopen 7 different SaaS system softwares to find the information and tap on the shoulders of 3 people. When they leave, the information is lost. And at the same time, real estate and construction industry, even one of the biggest constructions in the world, the projects last really long, right? So it's no brainer that the problem is very big. And I think we cannot always focus on technology, but when it comes to data chaos like this, data lakes, people call it whatever you call it, the right technology which appeared now, we can say in the last 18 months, is absolutely unprecedented, which has not been possible years ago. So it's no wonder that a lot of people try to solve this problem for their particular niches, whether they are lawyers, sales organization teams, or engineering architects, what we do.
About what kind of data are we talking exactly? Maybe we can break that down a little bit so we can imagine what people can be looking for exactly.
Sure. So this is something specific of our industry, that of course data is such a big abstract word. Mostly the information we look is buried in 3 categories of information. Of course, classical text, a lot of images, presentation, and construction drawings. This is the specificity of our building information, that information is not just in text, which is easier to understand. But if you think of images, of course, all as humans, we know what images presentations are. And now we have power of vision models to translate them. But the very specific thing is construction drawings. And when you are not a trained person and you look at them, they seem like blurb open to interpretation. In reality, to some extent it is, but in reality, it takes you many years to train an eye and know what certain symbols means, right? It's an accumulation of symbols. It's almost like a language on its own when you think of hieroglyphs, right? They are symbols, and when you know how to read them, you read them. Similarly is with construction drawings. I'm kind of showing to you because we are on camera, but this pattern is a concrete, this one is isolation, you know, right? So right now, the power of vision models got to such amazing technological advancements that we are able to recognize and train artificial intelligence on recognizing a lot of those patterns and correlations. That being said, anybody who's listening to this and ever worked in real estate and construction will a bit laugh and say, wow, yeah, but there are so many little notions, right? This can mean this and that. Right. But that's why we are really building long-term vision with Howie, where we try the industry to help to understand this information and extract it from millions and thousands of issue drawing, the one you needed in the right source. And often the answer is a combination of numbers, text, information, and construction drawings, that as an architect and engineer, you need to make informed decision and you need a set of information in front of you.
Okay, so Howie is an AI co-pilot for the built environment, a platform for process automation in construction and real estate data. You explained it already. Could you maybe tell us a bit more? What can Howie do for its target audience?
So now, as you say, we call it the brain for the built environment, but the group we focus now the most, where we get the most pull from the market, from our niche, are architects and engineers. And give you an example, if you are a firm of 300, like this is typical firm we work with, 350 engineers. In just on the process of this constantly looking for information, asking senior people, the firm is already losing between 2.8 to 3.8 million euros a year.
Okay, so you're focusing on really big firms, right?
Big ones, it's hard to say. We have many firms we talk with which have even 14,000 engineers. So it depends. But this is right now our sweetest spot. Definitely we see how we being useful to everybody, but this maybe we can come back to our market traction. We are in a very lucky position where we got a lot of inbounds. And this we find as the biggest spot, both the companies. Of course, all the companies we talk with, that's why they come to us, know this problem. But this is a very good size of company where in relatively easier to start working with them than very large ones of 14,000 engineers. And at the same time, they have capacity and budget compared to a firm of 10 people. So this is kind of the proven to us to work right now. So this automatically becomes our go-to market. That being said, of course, we see how we're working for many different sizes of firms. So really our vision is to, we position ourselves at the future of work and want to help people get rid of these mundane tasks. What it does now, that Howie connects to all your data sources, lets you annotate or embed automatically all the data, whether it's an image presentation, construction, drawings, in variety of sources, and lets you, like the way you talk with ChatGPT, you can effectively talk with your own data.
Okay. How did you manage to secure the 420,000 investment from the London VC firm PI Labs?
This is very interesting because, as you said, we were founded mid of last year, but I've already worked on the project for a bit. And I knew myself is a problem. All the firms I talk with is a problem. And this is maybe the advantage of being a domain founder. So you have this network in our space, architecture, engineering, globally, companies which want to push the boundaries are quite connected. We quite got the momentum through a lot of hackathons, conferences, that people were like, oh my God, this is our problem. We are working on this. How is doing that? So somehow in some mini way, it got viral. And then we got approached by a leading magazine in our space, a British one, and they wrote article about us. I didn't think much about it. I think it was September. And this article got immediately viral. And we got overnight over 200 leading firms from Switzerland, Australia, America to UK. Actually, no Austrian company, but we have a few German ones we are working with, kind of bombarded with inbounds. Clearly, it's a problem, and a lot of companies were looking into solving it. The same time, PI Labs approached us. Actually, we were approached by many VCs, like I guess it's quite classic, inbounded. But PI Labs is somebody I knew also from London. I heard about the firm. And the whole thing also for me as a founder, it's not just to get money, but really to get money with added value. And PI Labs is really recognized globally, actually as a number one investor, even mass-wise, in prop tech. They invested already in over 100 companies. They have an amazing portfolio of companies only trying to solve problems of the built world. So, of course, I knew of them, but didn't really know them much. And they immediately, after seeing our wait list and interest, they gave us term sheet very early on. So this went really fast. And we were hesitant, should we raise? Because should we still bootstrap? Till that time, how it was bootstrapped. But it was very clear after having so many talks with them that they can bring value way beyond money, positioning us with the right partners, both on, of course, investors and customers. Also, most of their LPs in the fund are the large real estate construction companies. And they mostly also invest in the UK and US companies. From last year portfolio, we are the only company from the continent. So they have quite a big angle on internationalization, and they know our space. That's the huge difference for us.
Also, your funding round isn't closed yet, right?
Yes. So, as said, this is kind of, we would call it the bridge round. We started with them, it's a safe on a very good terms, and we secured this 420K, and then we have matched some things from public agency. And now the goal is that till end of the May, we, from kind of soon on, we are basically starting to fundraise. And by May, we are looking to secure and look to partner with right angel partners. We are in talks with some interesting individuals that we would see that would bring value to Howie, and met on the same safe. And post this, we are looking to into 1.5 million round and partnering ideally with the one right investor. Maybe we structure it differently. This is our ideal, with the one investor who can bring different value that PI Labs, right? You want to structure your cap table in an effective way. So now we are giving each other time to figure out what do we exactly want out of this investor. That being said, as of next week, we start to have soft meetings. Also, I was last week in London, had some soft coffees from inbound firms which are around us. And we are really for the hunt to thinking who is the right partner who could push Howie to the next stage. So as I can say, yeah, we are now softly in the fundraising mode.
Let me ask you, are some of these interesting individuals also from Austria?
Yes, some are also from Austria. So, yeah.
So you mentioned that there are currently 60,000 users on the waiting list, and you refer to them as early adopters. Who exactly are they, and from which countries are they?
Mhm. So when we say a potential base of 60,000 users, this is circa about, we have over 200 companies. And some companies, smaller size, some I said have 9,000, but on average, they are 300 people. And Howie as a system, as a brain, is for the whole company. So this is what we say, that from potentially waitlist people who come to us, this is our potential user base. We are not at all at position to get them yet on the partner, on the platform. So really where we are now with Howie, product seems very easy, still very complex to build. Luckily, we have now amazing engineering team. And this year goal, it's for us to partner with right firms to shape product before we really go on scale and let everybody in next year. We already partner with some amazing firms. I'm not sure I can name them. So fortunately, nobody in Austria, one in Germany, which are very progressive, and they build it with us in like it's not typical small piloting. It's like, we call it pilot premium, hands-on, shaping the vision together. At the same time, we are constantly in talks with all those people in our community who came to us because they all have the same problem and they know how complex it is. So there is no day I don't talk with somebody from the list. And the same, we have culture in the company. If you are tech, you are part of the talks. And we are looking into ways of engaging and grasping the knowledge from them until the platform is ready. So what really is there for the early adopters? Well, first of all, you can shape product to your needs. And this is, I think, the biggest advantage. Without saying you have lifetime discount, we really calculated we will never make money of you. It's literally to cover basic costs. So of course you have lifetime discount. This comes without saying. And you are first one, because as said, we are not physically in capacity to get everybody on board yet. And still we are in the shaping product development. So yeah, where they are from, you ask me. Now I don't have exact numbers, but it's around 70% of the wait list is from Anglo-Saxon countries. UK, Canada, US, and Australia. Majority is UK from that list, but then it's a bit of American firms also. Some we work with, Canada and Australia. Ironically, 5 of them were from New Zealand, or 6, which is really interesting. We have some German firms. This is the regions, actually. There is nothing, I think it very global, but at the same time focused. It's not like everywhere. And it makes sense. UK, some Canada, some America, some Australia, and Germany.
And the one big company you're working with in Germany that you mentioned earlier is the M&P Group in Hamburg, right?
That's true, because we have, of course, we are allowed to name them, not with all yet. We are allowed, but M&P Hamburg, and it's a really amazing engineering office, one of the biggest one in Germany. And they are behind some of the biggest projects like Philharmonie in Hamburg. They do all the planning of engineering, not architectural work. And they have a very, very, even it's an old firm, legacy firm, they have a very forward-thinking leadership. Cheers to Sven and Jörg. And they also found us, and they are really great to work with.
Maybe to round up the picture, could you share a practical example of how your software helps in real life scenarios?
Yeah, sure. So as Howie, you have it like a brain for your firm. It's for everybody has the use of it. So if you are a junior architect, most likely you would ask, you are developing some detail. Yeah, I don't know really how to solve it, and I want to find examples. So you basically ask Howie, hey, can you show me some roof ridge details? And normally you would have to go in person, reopen files, find somebody who knows it. And Howie scans all the 30 terabytes of your data, whether it's in emails and SharePoint, and finds you the detail that you are looking for, the solution, so you don't end up redrawing something that maybe was done in parallel projects in Berlin office, not the Hamburg office, or maybe a year ago, which you would physically not know. And this is very typical, like junior case study. For the senior level person, you are working on the project, client calls you, it's basically every day, and say this and this doesn't work. We don't know why. And you ask Howie, I don't know why this and this didn't work, like this pipe connection. And Howie finds the issue 3 years ago that when you issued for planning, what was issued, then finds a year ago what was in email found, right? So collides you information from a variety of sources and tells you why it's done, or is it correct or not. If you are, on the other hand, partner or director, first of all, you are all the time bothered by those juniors and seniors. So your time is cut also by this. And sometimes juniors, you believe me not, spend 2 days to figure out some details. But most likely your job is about overseeing projects and, for instance, bidding for new projects. So every time you bid for new projects, you have to look again for archives or parallel project, what's been developed. So you are like, okay, we are planning for this kind of hospital project in this amount of square meters. Do you think we have something? Do you think we found something similar? And how we extract from the Excel document, which works really well, from presentation, and helps you to retrieve information. This is right now, but of course, vision is bigger. We are really going into the agentic AI, where how we will be orchestrating variety of tasks, right? Down the line, we want to automate a lot of tasks and have agents that help you bid for projects, agents that help you only deal with details. But this is kind of the vision technologically, what we are drawing internally, how to be ahead of curve. But this is right now what we're working on. Was the value proposition is extracting this information, which is literally a daily, very time consuming task. And not only you lose time, very often you don't find right information and you can get sued because of not finding this information. So this is what Howie does now.
Mm-hmm. Who's in your team at the moment?
Okay, that's a great question. And this is something that makes me so happy. We have an amazing team. And still in December, or when we were getting Pileups investment, it was 1.5 person strong. I was the only full-time person. So you can imagine, changed a lot. As we speak now, we are 5 full-time and we are getting to 8 within the next 2 months. So with 8 people, we have signed contracts. And team is half tech and business. So the head of tech is Jurgen. He's an ex-founder. He done his PhD at University of Oxford from human-robot interactions, been in AI space for long. He's based in Linz, but we are based in Vienna, so he's part week in Vienna. We have 3 other engineers. Main one, Yannick, who's been with me from beginning, and built all the first prototypes, also based in Austria, in Salzburg, not in Vienna. And Yannick is again, fabulous engineer and somebody who's been with me from beginning on. And then we have 2 junior engineers who moved from Paris to Vienna. One already moved to Vienna, second moves in next month. And they are also, yes, so it's kind of a lot of people. We have founders associate Ines, who I met while we were a part of accelerator program in Munich. Her background is in business sustainability, and basically she's my right hand. We do everything together because as also kind of solo founder, you can only rely on yourself. Speaking of relying, we also have an amazing business coach, Petra Falkenstein. She's also a shareholder in the firm who helps us navigating through strategy. We are getting now next month Navin on the growth/sales block product side. He worked in Red Bull, in Tractive, in many amazing startups. I feel like I missed somebody. Yeah, and we have some things, people who I cannot disclose yet, but half business, half tech. So we are getting to team of.
I love how you introduced your team. The next question is one that you might hear more often, I imagine. So there's a construction tech startup based in the US, founded by an Austrian, Trunk Tools from Sarah Buchner. And I was wondering, how does Howie distinguish itself from Trunk Tools?
Yeah, this is actually a very good question. I remember when we were working on Howie last year, I think in February last year, somebody, I didn't know much about Sarah, and somebody started to send me links. Oh, look, they are doing this text thing. I think they pivoted from different finance product into text. That's what I understood. And for me, it was actually a very good information because I'm like, wow, it's amazing, that actually it happens to be like with February last year, we started Accelerator the day, that we actually are onto something. For me, it shows the market traction and market need. But what I understand, I'm again not really that much, I don't know that much about the company, but from what I understand, first of all, it's a different market in America, but second of all, it's different niche. They are focusing on construction companies. So again, hard for me to really exactly say about the product. I think there is a lot of similarities in terms of problem space and the technology behind, which is again, amazing sign for us. And the differentiation is they focus on different niche. Solely building construction firms where we more focus on planning and later managing projects, and different geography. That being said, I think they have an amazing attitude to product and also marketing, communicating their information. And I think it seems like it's a really amazing startup. Again, really hard to compare. They are an absolutely different scale. I think they raised multi millions, and they had a company already before they started this product. I think they already developed some products before. But again, never met them, and also in America, it's absolutely different ball game. Also with fundraising, with building company, it's really hard to compare with the continent.
For sure. What you have in common is you're both women in construction. And even though you say you are not particularly focused on the construction industry, of course, you're also part of it with your solution. And the construction industry in Austria is still heavily male dominated, with only 14% of leadership positions held by women. Does this show up in your daily work somehow? Does this affect you?
Very strongly. And I think Sarah's clientele is even harder than ours, I think. I think typical hardcore construction companies are even harder, I think, than our clientele. From my experience, I don't know. So, like, kudos to her. And that's true. She is also a woman, a solo founder in that space. And I think we are both from the domain. But is it, I think I always say that being underestimated is also an advantage. I definitely see I get underestimated a lot. And there is also, if you want or not, we are visual creatures. We judge a lot. I think I also look younger than I am, and I have really a lot of experience for my age. I started working very early. So it's the same was the problem when I was in the industry. People never really took me seriously until they really realized what I bring to the table. So the problem was there is so much more steam put up front. There's a huge topic on its own. I think leadership is different for women and men, and women bring really a lot of amazing traits. But that being said, this is also such a deep topic, and it's hard. I also is always careful not to say something wrong. Definitely, it's harder, but I think it can be your superpower to be underestimated.
Yeah. Let me jump to the next question. What positive changes could happen in the construction industry if there were more women in leadership?
But maybe Julia, I will touch a bit on this topic, because I kind of did not even I'm so used to this. And then friend of us, Elias, if he's listening, he was last year a bit helping me, ex-architect. And when the waitlist was coming, I've automated started to talk with people, and he's like, that time we were at 156 number, and he's like, we are at 156, and how many women are on the wait list? And I'm like, how many? He's like, 0. And that's true, because people I talk with are usually leaders. And even I work really long in the industry. Of course, I never made it to C-level. And even I saw it, I was not in that many rooms that I am now. So all the business owners I talk are male. But by the way, some are amazing. I don't think so it's a disadvantage. There is percentage of meetings that I'm extremely put down. And I really think that male, young plays role for sure. There's small amount of meetings, but I this is my feeling. So then you are in the tech environment, right? This was also very shocking for me, especially when we were building tech team. No matter how much I tried to have more women, there were just no applications. But advantage is, I think you are underestimated, and this is an advantage, because people don't see you as a threat, and you can build in silence and then just prove them wrong.
Amazing. I'm sure there are definitely a lot of positive things that women in leadership positions, may it be in construction or anywhere else, bring to the table. And let's finish up with the last question. What will be Howie's main focus this year?
Yeah, so this year, it's kind of links to one of our previous questions. Really, this year, we want to focus on shaping the product where we know it delivers a huge value to smaller group of people, do things that don't scale, versus getting everybody on the platform before we really scale. So we already partner with some really, really great firms, and still we are in the search from this waitlist to get another 2, maximum 3 partners with whom we can partner, who bring not just usage and payment, but first of all, value of the product. So this is really goal for this year. We want to be in the space where by end of the year, where the product is really well shaped, and we are in the position to start scaling it. And this is our objective, really.
Great. And this brings us to the end of today's Trending Topics episode. Thank you very much, Ewa, for these very exciting insights.
Thank you so much, Julia, and the whole team and everybody who's listening. And just don't be shy to follow us on LinkedIn or drop me a line. My name is Ewa Lenart, and you can find us under Howie.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a 5-star rating and follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and co. Feedback, comments, or guests you would like to hear in the talk with us can be sent to feedback@trendingtopics.at. Bye for now, and until next time.